Hey out there, this is a little bit difficult to start this conversation just because it's heavy. Once we're in it, I think it will be a good one, but it's hard to just start it. I don't know if you guys have watched the media or, there's a lot of things going around on social media just to create awareness, which I think is great. This week, two Division I female college athletes committed suicide. Sarah Schultz from Wisconsin was a track runner, and Lauren Bernett was a softball player from James Madison University. So it hits extra hard because she's one of us. She was in the 2021 Women's College World Series a year ago. Just before that, in early March, Katie Myers, or Meyer, I hope I'm saying her name right, from Stanford, soccer player, committed suicide. I don't know about you, but it is alarming. It's alarming because these girls are part of us and what we do at Be Complete. They may not be softball players or athletes. They may not be, getting training from us directly, but for me, we're all in this together. Whether it's us as female athletes, softball players, women, people, right? This is a tough, crazy world that we live in. And when I saw just about these two athletes in this week alone, and then from James Madison, softball athlete, I knew I had to say something. I had to bring this up to just talk about, right? Just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you don't struggle, doesn't mean you don't get depressed. It doesn't mean that you don't go through anxiety. If anything, especially at an elite level, the Division I level is hardcore. If anything, as athletes, the pressures that you feel may create more so anxieties, depression, highs and lows. Burnout is a real thing. And what's crazy is that our athletes are starting younger and younger with better coaching, becoming more competitive, which is kind of cool on one end. I mean, I want to help our athletes get better and train them how to pitch and be successful on the field. But on the other end, those pressures are pushed onto these young athletes at ages where coping skills are not in place. Your freshman year of college is one of the most difficult adjustments of your life. Coping skills are not quite there yet. You're still learning it at that age, at that time. And these athletes are expected to keep a schedule of a very busy adult, okay? I mean, responsibilities. They turn around and they have to perform, be expected to perform. And then if they don't, they feel it. They may not be in the lineup, all of those consequences, right? And now we have the added pressures of social media. We're living in a time now where we have more information and knowledge about suicide, mental health, resources, how to connect each other than we ever did back when I was playing and before then. And so I feel like there's this moment where people my age, or maybe a little younger, a little older, might hear a story of an athlete that steps away and takes a break or takes a pause, I think is kind of the new term now, which I love. I think that's awesome. And they judge that athlete harshly, or they say, man, she's not strong enough. She doesn't belong here. She can't handle the pressure. It's been said. It's said a lot. It's said a lot. The thing that it does, though, is it creates more isolation. It tells that athlete that it's not okay to feel the way you're feeling. You're not cut out for the sport because you're feeling this way, when in reality, everybody goes through these things. When it's kept a secret, when you're isolated, that's when it gets worse. That's when you compound things one after another, and then we reach a point where we're talking about these three girls that committed suicide. We don't know what they were going through, but I hate that they were feeling so alone that's what they felt would bring them relief, would help them feel better. It's really hard to wrap your head around what brings someone to that point, but it obviously happens, and athletes are getting to that point. So I want to leave everyone with some helpful tips, things you can do. And it seems so simple, but when it's you or a teammate of yours or a daughter, right, it's much more complicated and difficult and hard to wrap your head around. So athletes, whether you're before college, in college, professional, Olympians, if you are not okay, speak up, say something. If it requires a pause, a break, a step back, do it. Do it. I know you'll get some pushback, and I know some people will say some things that are judgmental and harsh, but they're not you and they don't know what you're going through. And nothing is worth your life. Nothing. Nothing. Not a gold medal, not a national championship, not a game tomorrow. There's not a thing out there that's worth your life. So please speak up and take a break if you need. Athletes, if a teammate of yours says something that makes you feel like she's not okay, she's hurting, don't brush it off like it's nothing. Don't just be like, oh, she had a bad day at practice. Obviously, that's what she does. Listen, pull them aside and say, hey, you really seemed like you were not okay. What's going on? And create that safe environment to talk about things. And then if it's something that you're still holding and you're like, man, she's really not okay. Like she's lost. I don't know what to do. This is above my head. Tell an adult, tell your coach, tell your parents, keep telling people. Maybe they do get mad at you, right? But like I said before, nothing is worth your teammate's life or your friend's life or your daughter's life or your athlete's life. Coaches. And when I say coaches, I'm kind of putting everyone in a group. Coaches, teachers, educators, advocates, administrators, people that have access to athletes, trainers. Oh my gosh, there's so many relationships that athletes have throughout the years, throughout a day. If you walk away from an interaction with an athlete and you're like, man, she is not okay, create the space. Pull them aside and really say, like, if you're going through something, I am not going to judge you. I want to help you. Please tell me. Saying it out loud is the first step. And that can be so powerful. Just saying it to someone and having them not judge you, but support you can save a life, literally. It can. Not always, but it can. And having that human interaction can be so great. I watched an interview today from a Marshall softball player about Lauren, the softball player from James Madison, and just what it's like to be a Division I athlete and all the pressures. And she said something that I thought she really nailed it on the head. Social media. It's really stopped a lot of the conversations, the human interactions. You see everyone's life on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or wherever, and you assume, man, they're doing awesome. And it stops that, right? It quits that question, like, are you doing okay? Hey, what's up? Sometimes just asking is the door that person has been waiting to have opened for them. And then there go the floodgates, right? So really work hard. Step away from the social media sometimes, you guys. Please talk to each other. Listen to each other. Look at each other. Pay attention to each other. Coaches, you especially. If you have a gut feeling that one of your kiddos is not okay, you're probably right. Don't slough it off. Don't just keep going. I know everyone's busy, but it could literally save a life and make a difference. Parents. I think the first thing that can be so helpful is to keep the game in perspective. It's fun to go out there and see your kid succeed and win and just play to their ultimate potential. But these 3 girls that I mentioned, they were playing at their potential like nobody's business. They were at the top of their game, and they weren't okay. Try to create the space. Try to open that door. Judging them or telling them they're not tough enough, that they just got to suck it up and keep going when they're trying to talk to you, it's not going to help. So really try to create the space and listen. Try to listen. I know it's so hard. I have a hard time just giving advice in this way because every situation is so different and could require different things. And so I'll leave you with this. Please, please, please do not be afraid to reach out to a mental health professional. Maybe they're not, a sports guru type person, but they know about depression, anxiety, suicide, and they can be of help, at least for the time being. I am happy to give information to people that can be helpful in that area. Get books. Communication is the key, and people can feel that. Your kids can feel that from you as a parent, as a coach, as another teammate. If you're a safe person to communicate with, if you're constantly judging others, why would that person want to tell you something that they're already afraid to tell anybody? So just check in with that and really work hard on creating the space and being a safe person that your kids or maybe even their friends can come to and talk about things they might be struggling with. Last thing, and I kind of said this earlier, but everyone's so excited to get to college, and we're competing and we're training and we're working to get to college and get recruited and get that scholarship. When in reality, the coping side of college, softball, and the pressures, the schedule, all of those things, I don't know if kids really know what they're walking into and the coping skills that it takes. I don't think adults know what they're sending their kids off to. Coaches have to know a lot of things. I guess I'll say a little bit about a lot of things, enough to help your player get help if they need it. Whether it's mental health, whether it's grades, they gotta keep a really good pulse on the team. So if that helps in the recruiting game, definitely check in there with coaches and ask them about that. It's not helpful for anybody to play for a coach or be around that environment that's judgmental and creates isolation and shame. It's not good. So I am happy to help. There's so much to this. I just wanted to speak to it because our girls need to hear it. I don't want one of the kids that I've worked with or my own child going off to college one day not having any idea about the pressures that they're going to go under and knowing that it's okay to not be okay and speak up. So please reach out and let me know how I can help. This is important to me and I know it is important to you guys too. So we got this.